Teachers wanted me to talk to you a little bit about leaves this week. There are so many different kinds of leaves, and I bet you haven't noticed that before. But if you go out into a park or to your yard or just walking down the street after we talk, I bet you're going to discover all different kinds of shapes and sizes of leaves. All right, so this week we're going to do some experiments with leaves. And that is a big word, experiment, and I wonder if you know what that means. When we do an experiment, it means we're going to try something and we're not 100% sure how it's going to work out. So for our leaf experiment, I'll show you all the things that you need, and it's something that you can do at home. Another thing I wanted to explain to you is what a scientist is. A scientist is someone who's curious about something and then they try to figure it out. So you know what? That makes you a scientist, because I am sure there are things that you're curious about. I'm going to show you a very simple experiment that lets you be the scientist. We'll talk about the important things to think about when you're doing an experiment. And I am sure when you're done, you're going to feel like a scientist too. There are all sorts of different leaves. Some of them can be long and pointy. This one is kind of soft. It's a much softer leaf. They both have the same job. A leaf's job is to capture the sun and to use sun to make food for the plant. These leaves are darker, and I think you can see that they're a little bit shiny, and this branch also has some flowers on it. So the leaves, like we said, have the job of capturing the sun to make food, and flowers sometimes turn into fruit. On this plant it will turn into fruit, and sometimes it'll have seeds. So this part on the bottom here is going to eventually turn into a small fruit called a quince. Here's another plant. This one has kind of stripes on the front, and look at that, a very purple back. But again, it has the same kind of a job. We're gonna look at a couple more leaves. This one has a shape and it's light and dark green. Here's a long pointy purple leaf. Here's another leaf that's purple, and if you look very closely, I think you can see this has some sort of fuzz, or looks like hair, but of course it's a plant so it can't have hair, but it does have some fuzzy parts to it. This leaf is mostly green, but it has some pink on it. And then here's another long, skinny green leaf. Okay, this plant is called a fern. This is kind of an ancient plant. This is one of the first plants that were found on Earth, and it's still around today. Not the same plant, of course, but this type of plant. This one has a leaf that is cut up into what looks like a whole bunch of other little leaves. Here's another kind of leaf that we actually use when we cook. This is sage, and that has a great smell. If you smell that leaf, it's gonna make you think of Thanksgiving, I'm sure of that. And here's parsley. That's another leaf that we eat. Sometimes you see that in celery, or sometimes people cut it because it's such a beautiful leaf that they'll use to make a dish look pretty, or you might see it in potatoes. And this is rosemary. This is another leaf that has such a great smell that people have been using it for thousands of years in their food. So sometimes you find this in bread, or Thanksgiving dinner is another popular place, or in different things that we make with chicken. This leaf is unusual. It's mostly white, and this is a great one to show you something special about leaves. In a leaf, we have these green lines that are called veins, just like you can see the veins in your own skin. And in your body, the veins bring blood around that bring oxygen and nutrients around your body. And the same thing happens with the veins in a leaf. So the plant can get food and water from the soil, and it goes up the stem and then out into the leaf, and then the veins in the leaf will carry water and food right to the very edge of the leaf.
We're going to do an experiment to see if we can watch water move through leaves and flowers.
Okay, to start off your experiment, you're going to need some small glasses with water. So find whatever small glass you can. It doesn't have to be special. Some red or blue food coloring. I think red is going to work best. Don't use yellow or green. It might be too hard to see as it moves up through the plant. Fill your glass with water, not all the way, but so that the stem can be completely covered with the water. You'll also need some paper so that you can take notes. So we put a couple of drops in each one. Then we put the leaves in and make sure that the bottom of the leaf is under the water. If it's not, you can just add a little more water. Make sure it's covered.
At night before I went to bed, I put 3 white flowers in glass number 1. I put some green leaves on their stem in glass number 2. I put a dandelion in glass number 3.
At night, I filled out my paper with my name and date. I should put that in right now. Sunday, and my name is Beth. And I added 3 drops of coloring to each glass. And in glass number 1, I put 3 flowers. In glass number 2, I put 3 leaves on their stem. In glass 3, I put a dandelion. And I made a place so that I can write down what everything looks like in the morning.
Maybe someone can help you take a picture of your experiment and your notes and send it to your teacher. In the morning, I could see lots of red color had moved through the veins in the white flower. I could also see lots of red color in the green leaves. You can see it in this picture.
I don't see any color at all in the dandelion. What do you think? I'm not sure why that happened. We'd have to do another test to try to figure out why exactly that happened. In the morning, I wrote down everything I saw. I could see that the white flowers now had red in the veins, so I could see where the water moved. In the green leaves, I could also see red stretching out through the leaves, but in the dandelion, I couldn't see any change at all. I couldn't see any color. You can take a picture of your notes and send them to your teacher. Okay, that's it. Hope you guys had fun, and remember to stay curious and be a scientist every day.